Thank you, Ann. That was very nice of you. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. If we can have you take your seats, we'll get started with this morning's program. And today's program, welcome to the 15th Annual Mobility 21 Summit. We are thrilled to have all of you here. It's going to be an exciting day. It's going to be a productive day. And here we are doing this in the happiest place on earth. How cool is that? And you can feel it. As soon as you get off the 5 here, you can feel happier. Actually, that applies to anywhere you get off the 5. But still in all, this is Mickey's house, and we are glad to be here. The first thing I want to do is to thank all the Mobility 21 partners for all of the hard work they do on behalf of our region. Beginning with the Automobile Club of Southern California, the Chambers of Commerce Alliance of Ventura and Santa Barbara counties, the Greater Riverside Chambers of Commerce, the Inland Empire Economic Partnership, the Los Angeles Chamber of Commerce, the Los Angeles County Metropolitan Transportation Authority, Metrolink, Orange County Business Council, Orange County Transportation Authority, Riverside County Transportation Commission, San Bernardino Associated Governments, Southern California Association of Governments, the Ventura County Transportation Commission, Mobility 21's advisory board members, and you, the members of Mobility 21. Together, we really are one region, one voice, and one future. And as we look to our transportation future, this year's theme is Empowering California. And I have to tell you, as someone who has been involved in the transportation game for a long time in this region and in this state, this really is a remarkably exciting time. It's challenging. You're going to hear about a lot of those challenges today from some of our transportation leaders, but it is an exciting time, and in many ways, I think the golden age of transportation when you look at the incredible projects that are becoming a reality and going online today, like the incredible improvement project of RCTC on the 91, the downtown connectors, the completion of the Expo line, all around us, every county from San Diego to Ventura. There are projects that all of you have worked so hard for, and it's finally becoming a reality. So give yourselves a hand for that. I'd also like to thank our sponsors, without whom this summit would not be possible. This year's titanium sponsor is Michael Baker International, a national leader in transportation. Thank you so much. This opening session sponsors, our two opening session sponsors, are CH2M and HDR. Let's hear it for them. And thank you to all our other sponsors and supporting organizations whose names you see listed on the screen. Thank you for all your support. Now, I would like to welcome, as soon as I get my notes out, our elected officials from all over the region. What we're going to do, I MC a lot of these events, and this never works, but we're going to try it anyway. We're going to ask each of them to stand up. Please hold your applause till we're all done. It never works, but we'll try it. So as I call your name, if you can stand up and try to look as public officially as possible, that would be great. And we'll just wait till they're all standing till they get our well-deserved applause. But would you please welcome, from the County of Riverside, Supervisor, the Honorable John J. Benoit. From the City of Aliso Viejo, the Honorable Ross Chun. From the City of Santee, the Honorable Jack Dale. From the City of San Clemente, the Honorable Lori Donchak. You will meet her in a moment. Commissioner, California Transportation Commission, Lucy Dunn, and former chair. From the City of Duarte and LA Metro, the Honorable John Fasana. From the City of Duarte, the Honorable Margaret Finley. Also from the California State Assembly Transportation Commission, Chair, the Honorable Jim Frazier. From the City of Moreno Valley, the Honorable Jeffrey Jiba, who is Mayor Pro Tem. From the County of San Bernardino, Supervisor, the Honorable Kurt Hagman. California Transportation Commissioner, the Honorable Fran Inman. From the City of Eastvale, the Honorable Clint Lorimore. Also from the California Transportation Commission, Commissioner the Honorable Jim Matifer. From the City of Santa Ana, the Honorable Michelle Martinez. From the City of Alhambra, the Honorable Barbara Messina. From the City of Sail Beach, the Honorable Gary Miller. The City of Moore Park, the Honorable Keith Millhouse. From the City of Ventura, the Honorable Carl Morehouse. From the City of Holtville, the Honorable James Predmore. And the City of Indian Wells, a good friend of mine, the Honorable Mayor Dana Reed. From the City of Rialto, the Honorable Deborah Robertson. From the County of San Bernardino, Supervisor, the Honorable Janice Rutherford. From the United States House of Representatives, we'll be hearing from her in just a few minutes, the Honorable Loretta Sanchez. From the City of Hesperia, the Honorable Eric Schmidt. And from the City of Lemon Grove, Mayor, the Honorable Mary Sessom. From the City of Ontario, the Honorable Alan Wapner. From the City of Indio, the Honorable Michael Wilson. From the City of Yorba Linda, the Honorable Craig Young, and if you saw him last night, he did an incredible Captain Jack. I was very impressed at his outfit. From the City of Buena Park, the Honorable Art Brown. Now you can give them a big round of applause. We want to thank all of them for the work that they do. It is a difficult job. It takes a wild amount of time. Most of them, this is what we laughingly call a part-time job, and they do it, and it is at times controversial and difficult, but we are so thankful for all the work that they do. One quick announcement. Check out the jumbo screens for information on our local sales tax measures in Southern California. We have a number of them across Southern California, all very important, all critical. We need all of you to support them in every way you can. Please take some time to learn about how our local agencies are working to increase mobility in the entire region, so we can empower California and give the region the tools it needs to ease congestion. And then before I bring out our first guest speaker, just as a public service, I wanted to go through with you a couple of tips, because most of you are from Southern California, but some of you are not, and just some tips on getting around Southern California. Where's Will Kempton? I saw Will earlier. He was here. Oh, there he is. Good. When Will and I worked together at OCTA, he came up with the idea for this sign, which I thought was excellent. So you might see this, and these have been very helpful on the 55. So you might see that as you travel around. There's a lot of construction going on, as I told you, a lot of great projects all over the Southland. So be aware of that. Just slow down and just follow the signs when you approach a construction region. You don't often think of parking structures as thoughtful places, but I thought this was interesting. And I'm not sure where this is, but I'm trying to find it because I'd like to ask the attendant, what is the fee exactly? And is there a senior's discount? Because I'm on a short fuse, so there's no sense me paying the full rate. Every public agency here knows public safety is job one, so signage is very important in that effort. By the way, I think this is an important note. The prepare to be annoyed sign is photoshopped. That isn't. That's real. So someone had an excellent idea. Let's see. This is the new traffic signals in Colorado. So Malcolm and Brian are going to have to decide if we go to those here and the results in about 10 days. Of course, we'll have bigger issues in the results in 10 days, so don't worry about the traffic signals. Let's see. I'm not sure what that one was. I think it also has something to do with Colorado. And then my office is in Century City, and I spend a lot of my time trying to get to downtown. And if you spent as much time on the 10 eastbound and the peak hours as I do, you'll get used to seeing this. But it is helpful. It is helpful because you know at that point you can just turn off your engine and get caught up in your emails. So there you go. That's everything you need to know about traveling around Southern California. Now, I have the great pleasure and honor of introducing one of my best friends and one of the most extraordinary leaders in transportation in this state, and that is Commissioner Lucy Dunn from the California Transportation Commission. Listen to this. Orange County Business Journal's Woman in Business Award, WTS's Woman of the Year Award, Southern California Leadership Network's Public Sector Leader of the Year in 2012, and the prestigious Vision and Visionaries Award from Cal State Fullerton. She was twice named as Woman of the Year by the California Legislature. In 2014, the Orange County Register named her as one of Orange County's 100 most influential. She is truly a transportation mover and shaker, and you can see her work all over this state and the great things she's done in every position she's held. Just around here as the president of the Orange County Business Council, but the combination of her leadership, her intellect, her personality, which just motivates people and makes people want to get things done. She really is someone that we are deeply fortunate to have on our side and working on our behalf. So would you please help me welcome with a very hearty round of applause the Honorable Lucy Dunn.
Oh my God, with an introduction like that, I just now want to come out and say, and the conference is over. Thank you, Peter. That was fantastic and way generous, way generous. So I am Lucy Dunn, President and CEO of the Orange County Business Council, Chair of Mobility 21 for the fabulous 2016 season, and honored to be on the California Transportation Commission serving you all for the benefit of the state. You know, there is so much we've accomplished this year, and yet so much we have yet to do to invest in the region's transportation infrastructure, working to build a brighter future for everyone here. But for one day only, with all of you great leaders, business leaders, elected leaders, leaders in transportation, for one day only, this is the capital of Orange County, right here in Anaheim at the Disneyland Hotel. And I thank you all very, very much for joining in this great, great conference space today. So lots of programs Mobility 21 is pulled together for all of you leaders throughout the year that have brought hundreds of elected officials, agency, private sector partners together to discuss solutions to some of the most critical issues facing not only California, but the nation and the globe. Harnessing the power of new technology, alternative project delivery, mileage-based user fees, tolling, connecting transit options, leveraging the sharing economy, and of course, certainly working on really aggressive and far-reaching environmental goals that will help us all in the future. And there's no greater example of collaboration on all of these tough issues than at this summit today. 1,200 attendees. This is the largest transportation conference in the state of California. Give yourselves a round of applause. Thank you. Thank you. So you know we work on getting jobs together, helping mobility of people and goods, and once again, keeping California one of the finest places to live, work, and play in the world. But as you know, we have critical deficiencies in our state's infrastructure, including a significant backlog of maintenance on existing facilities that have built over years of underfunding. More than $77 billion is currently needed, while even more is needed to fund new projects crucial to address our growing population. These deficiencies create even more issues that reverberate through the state's economy, from congestion, increased gas usage, vehicle repairs, and delayed goods movement. In fact, you know, the average Californian pays over $2,500 a year in increased vehicle repair expenses that result from driving on bad roads. And this results as a hidden tax on the public due to our crumbling infrastructure system. So one of the big issues as we fight to get the right thing done at the state level, as we fight to get the right thing done on the federal level, the beauty of this system and Mobility 21 and working with all of you is also local control, local collaboration, regional collaboration on these issues. We have sales tax measures currently pending in San Diego, Los Angeles, and Ventura County, all trying to help fix the problem for our people, for our residents. How many of you are aware of sales tax measures in your community? Raise your hand. Raise your hands, please. Great, fantastic. How many of you have written a check to support those measures in your community, either through your company or other? I need more hands raised today on that one, okay? So today, look for someone in Ventura, in San Diego, in LA, and get your companies, get your personal investment in making those things succeed. It helps all of us. And especially a little plug for Ventura, because it's their inaugural sales tax measure and they really need some help. Look for Ventura. Okay. Vote with your dollars, people. In addition, vote on November 8th. So there's a lot of work to do to meet all of our infrastructure needs, and there's no question we're a leader globally in aggressive environmental goals. And it's going to take a lot of work and all of your great brain power, all of your great expertise to help us meet those as well. And again, it starts right here with regional collaboration. A big thank you to all of you once again today. A big thank you to my fellow Mobility 21 Board of Directors and Advisory Board members. Because of your partnership and commitment to a better future, we can achieve the reforms we need. Thank you all very much. Thank you.
I got this feeling on the summer day when you were gone. I crashed my car into the bridge. I watched, I let it burn. I threw your stuff into a bag and pushed it down the stairs. I crashed my car into the bridge. I don't care. I love it. I don't care. I got this feeling on the summer day when you were gone. I crashed my car into the bridge. I watched, I let it burn. I threw your stuff into a bag and pushed it down the stairs. I crashed my car into the bridge. I don't care. I love it. I don't care. You're on a different road. I'm in the Milky Way. You want me down on Earth, but I am up in space. You're so damn hard to please. We gotta kill this switch. You're from the 70s, but I'm a 90s chick. I love it. I love it. I got this feeling on the summer day when you were gone. I crashed my car into the bridge. I watched, I let it burn. I threw your stuff into a bag and pushed it down the stairs. I crashed my car into the bridge. I don't care. I love it. I don't care. I love it. I love it. I don't care. I love it. I don't care. You're on a different road. I'm in the Milky Way. You want me down on
Please give a
Earth,
warm
but
round
I
of
am
applause
up
for the
in
Mobility
space.
21
You're so
Board of
damn
Directors.
hard to please. We gotta kill.
Thank you, Riverside Community College Band. That was great. And please honor again our Board of Directors. It isn't often you get to see that prominent a group of women and men and a board of directors standing there to iconopops. I love it. So I thought it was interesting. Not something you see at every transportation conference. We have our next guest speaker. She is a longtime member of the House of Representatives, and she has been a fighter for transportation all along the way. So in a moment, you're going to hear from the Honorable Loretta Sanchez, who represents California's 46th Congressional District, which includes this city, Anaheim, Santa Ana, Orange, and Garden Grove. She began her congressional career in January of 1997 and is currently serving her 10th term in the House of Representatives. She holds senior positions on the House Armed Services Committee and the House Homeland Security Committee. She's a member of the Congressional Hispanic Caucus and serves as the co-chair of the Immigration Task Force. Representative Sanchez has also been a longtime and strong supporter of transportation, and I can personally attest to that. When I was on the OCTA board, she was one of the first people we would go to with issues that we needed dealt with at T&I or anywhere else within the federal structure, and she was always helpful. She was helpful at times when it really put her in a counter position to her own leadership, and she had the courage to do that. So Orange County is very grateful to her for all her help, and would you please now welcome the Honorable Loretta Sanchez.
Thank you. Good morning. I have the pleasure of welcoming you to my district. This is actually the heart of the 46th Congressional District, and it is my hometown. It is the town or the city where we make things happen. It is, of course, the happiest place on earth, and it is the city of dreams. So I want to begin by saying that I've been a little busy this year, and I've been traveling up and down California to talk to people, and I have got to tell you that one of the most difficult things in the entire time has been to either sit on the 10 freeway or the 91 freeway going east. Now, my husband is from Pennsylvania. He's actually from Lancaster, Pennsylvania, from Amish country, so he's not used to cars. And when I moved him out here about 4 years ago, he kept saying to me, "Why do you call it the 91? And why do you call it the 5 and the 405? I said, our freeways are so important to us, they get articles in front of them, right? Because when you're on the East Coast, it's go up 395. But when it's here, it's go on the 22. So I want to say that to thank you to all of you who work in mobility, in transportation, in building, in constructing, in financing. And I in particular want to talk to my local decision makers. Because while we might have vision and dream about what, in particular, California and Southern California should look like from a mobility standpoint, it is really those local officials who get to green light or not. And I'll give you an example. My staff, I've been going up to Los Angeles a lot, which can be hard. I mean, it's not hard if you go up the 5 freeway in Orange County. I've taken care of that. But hit the LA County line, and you'll know what I mean. Now, it happens that a few years ago, my sister got that district, so now there's construction in her area to widen and amplify. Experience counts for something. But going up to Los Angeles, I've been taking Metrolink or Amtrak, if it's an off-hour kind of a deal, which riders on the trains are always surprised. Are you Loretta Sanchez? Are you Loretta Sanchez? Yes. Well, why would you ride this? Hello? Because I can talk, I can work, I can go to the bathroom, unlike a plane usually in Washington, D.C. But the great thing has been that I transfer from there and I take the Expo line and I can be down in Santa Monica or on the west side. And when you're running statewide, you have staff from all over, and LA is a big market, so I've been going up there a lot. And they're just surprised that I will take transit instead of wasting staff time to drive up through the traffic. And I have got to tell you, LA people in particular, I am very envious that it's really all coming together from a transit standpoint in LA. And yeah. And I say this because in 1998, that was my second year in the Congress, I got a New Start funded through Republican Chairman Schuster, no, not the young guy, the father, and Secretary Slater under the Clinton administration for our own light rail system in Orange County. A New Start by a freshman. Only to find my two favorite mayors vote it down on the city council locally. One of the biggest excuses they had was that it was going to take 15 years to construct. Now I can do the math. I'd have had my own light rail system in Orange County by now, and you all would have come from LA on that system. So local electeds, you gotta be strong. You've gotta stand up. When we say we need a Measure M, or we say we need a tax, you need to have the vision to understand that at the federal level, we are looking for you to say yes. We are looking for you to put your money up, and then we will match. I just got done sitting on that conference for our latest transportation bill. Now, when I started in transportation, many of you don't know, I actually was the first MBA into government, and I sat and I worked for the Orange County Transportation Commission. There were 6 people, I was number 7 in. Now today it's together with our boss and company, et cetera, OCTA. But at that time, I started work on financing transportation projects and planning and regionally planning. And I've got to tell you, I started the day after Measure M, and the phone on my desk was the phone number to call about Measure M. That was the sales tax for Orange County, one of the first to go. I got an earful from people who were pretty angry about what was going on. But you have to be strong because we need you. So I was in this conference committee, and I remembered when it used to be that we would put most of the money from the federal level. And I remember when we used to have a 7-year plan at the state level. And then it went to 5, and then it went to 3, and then we funded for 2 years. This is because of the feds. And then we went to 6 months, and then we went to 3-month CRs, continuing resolutions. So I'm very happy to say that we got the transportation bill done and signed this past year. It is a major achievement to see that. But here's the thing. Washington, D.C. needs to stand up. they also need to redo how we finance our infrastructure. The current system is outdated for what is going on. And I have a vision to work with all of you in a very regional way to get our people moving. When I sit on the 91 and I keep looking up, going east, and I see all of these people in their cars, and I can tell that once again, they've missed the Little League game, or they've missed the dance recital of their kid because they're stuck in traffic. They've gone into LA or into Orange County, many of them for $10 an hour or $12 an hour. And they're going back and they lose 3 or 4 or 5 hours a day. It is completely unacceptable. Transportation is the catalyst. The projects you all see and want and work on are the catalysts to bring about the change we need. Work, play, school, all in the same area. Transit, and oh, by the way, infill and transit-oriented development, especially with respect to affordable housing. So, I hope you share ideas today. I hope you find some money today. And just know that I am here to work with you on moving Californians. It's about our economy. Thank you.
An Orange County luminary in transportation, Lori Donchak serves on the San Clemente City Council and is board chair of the Orange County Transportation Authority. She also serves on the San Clemente Mobility Task Force, as well as the Railroad Safety Quiet Zone Task Force. She's a graduate of Northwestern. Hope she doesn't say go Cubs. We don't have that much security here. She majored in linguistics and education. So with any luck, she's going to explain what bigly means. So we'll see how that goes. She received an MBA from Kellogg Graduate School of Management and enjoyed a 20-year career as a business executive in the communications industry. Would you please help me welcome Chair of OCTA, the Honorable Lori Donchak.
Thank you, Peter. It's an honor to be here, and I have been told that brevity is desirable at this conference. So in your mind, if you can imagine a mashup of that Riverside Community College drumline and Step in Time from Mary Poppins, we will move quickly through my remarks. Okay, so good morning, and welcome again to the 15th Annual Mobility 21 Southern California Transportation Summit. Orange County is proud to be part of this collaborative effort. You're going to hear the word collaboration over and over again today. It's an important reason for us to come together. It plays a vital role in delivering major transportation projects across the state, and in my view, it's an imperative. The 2016 summit provides a continued opportunity for us to share information and ideas. Together, we can enhance the overall transportation infrastructure, ensure future economic opportunity, and overall improve the quality of life for the residents that we represent. I'm proud that as Southern California's leading transportation advocacy group, Mobility 21 has become a driving force in the formation of transportation policy. This region is the most important in the country for the movement of goods, air quality, and metropolitan mobility. To address these challenges, we need a vision that is regional, and each local agency needs to be an essential voice in the formation and realization of that vision. So thank you very much. I applaud you for your attendance and your commitment today, and I hope you enjoy the summit. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Lori. Thank you so much. And now, talk about leaders in transportation in Southern California. We are going to hear in a moment from John Fasana, who is a council member in the city of Duarte and chair of the Los Angeles Metropolitan Transportation Authority. He's been a Duarte resident since 1985 and has represented the San Gabriel Valley on the Metro Board since its inception in 1993. He previously served as Metro Board Chair in 2001 and 2002. During his tenure on the Metro Board, he has worked tirelessly with his colleagues in Sacramento and Washington, D.C., to obtain several $1 billion for Los Angeles County residents for critically needed multimodal congestion relief projects. In 2015, he retired from his regulatory project manager position with Southern California Edison after 35 years of service. He's a graduate of Whittier College, and would you please help me welcome the Honorable John Fasana.
Good morning, Mobility 21. Was that Riverside Community College band fantastic? I tell you, they moved through this hall a lot faster than I did coming down from Duarte this morning. And I guess that's really why we're all here. You know, I want to offer greetings from Metro. We have a lot of people here from Los Angeles County Metro family today and from cities throughout the county. But I want to talk somewhat about not only mobility, but the letter M and what that means. Now, as the Cookie Monster from the Muppets would tell us, today's letter M is for mobility. And in Los Angeles County today, it's also for Measure M. And you might think that's all we talk about these days is Measure M, and I guess in some respects, guilty is charged. It is true, but we have our reasons. The Cookie Monster also says the C is for cookie, but it's also for congestion. We're trying to let everyone know that Metro's half-cent sales tax on the November ballot could mean for Los Angeles County and for all of Southern California for bringing us together. Because C is also for connected, because in this region we're all connected. Our traffic is your traffic is ours, and we must together build a transportation system that works for everyone. That's what Mobility 21 is about, and that's what we're working to accomplish. And that's why we must always remember that we need to go about the business of creating travel options for our customers and for the goods that course through our corridors, out of our ports and headed east. A successful transit system is not just a person on a bus or a train, or someone driving on the express lanes, a bike lane, or walking. It is a collaborative effort, a collection of ideas that work together to create a network for commuters going to work on train, bus, bike, or Uber. It is a network to help the goods moving into and out of our ports move more efficiently. Metro's transit revolution is about moving people and goods to create a healthy and robust economy and excellent quality of life. We must not stop until that's accomplished, and that's what Measure M is really all about. And that's why our friends at the Ventura County Transportation Commission are looking forward to the positive outcome of Measure AA, their tax measure for transportation, and believe me, we wish them great success. Ventura and Los Angeles counties are not alone. More than 30 transit agencies across the United States are asking voters to support ballot measures for transportation. Crumbling bridges and streets tell us we must support ballot measures for transportation. Aging baby boomers who will soon give up their cars also tell us we must. The hottest year on record tells us we must. Our responsibility as protectors of taxpayer dollars tells us we must, and we must do it now or pay much more if we do not maintain the system that we have down the road. So as I welcome you this morning, I want to remind you that we are all connected. Perhaps we should have a collective noun like an army of ants or a gaggle of geese or a murder of crows or a flamboyance of flamingos to call our record-setting congestion. It could be a caravan of cars, a voluminous of vehicles, or a monstrosity of trucks. I think it's all these things. Whatever we call our congestion, and it's the worst in the nation, we must position our region for future growth and mobility. We depend on it, our offspring depend on it. We must create an infrastructure inheritance for people throughout this region and for our children so that when they look back, they will say, thanks, you made our lives better. Like all of you here today, Metro is working hard to make that happen. Just Monday, on the Purple Line subway project under Wilshire Boulevard, we completed the decking work for a new station at La Brea Avenue 6 weeks ahead of schedule. 2 days ago, we lowered Angeli, the tunnel boring machine, into the ground at Little Tokyo to dig the regional connector that will bring 3 of our busiest light rail lines together and eliminate a forced transfer. Yesterday, Harriet, the Crenshaw LAX tunnel boring machine, broke through into the station box at Leimert Park, completing one of the 2 twin tunnels on that project. This is a tunnel in the line that will link Southern California by rail with an airport people mover to Los Angeles International Terminals. Isn't it about time? And earlier this year, we opened 2 light rail extensions of the Gold Line to Azusa and the Expo Line to Santa Monica through Culver City. We have accomplished a lot, but we still have much to do, and that's where Measure M comes in. These transit projects are expensive, but not building them is even more costly to our region and our economic vitality and to the jobs lost that would be created if we approve these projects and get them moving, and the ability to take these funds and leverage them with state and federal dollars. We need all your support from everyone in this room to help us out. And for those of you that have supported us, thank you so much. Today was brought to you by the letter M. Mañana, tomorrow, is also brought to you by the letter M. M is for mobility. M is for Measure M. Please vote on November 8th, and when you think of the future and the generations that will benefit, please tell others to vote for Measure M or Measure AA. Thank you so much. Welcome to Mobility 21.
Thank you, John. Thank you so much. And that is one of a number of critical ballot initiatives we have to teach you something about today and elicit the strongest support we can get from you for all of them. But our next speaker, Keith Millhouse, is going to tell you about a critical one, and that is in Ventura County. He is a Moore Park City Council member. He's been a leader in Southern California transportation since 1996, serving on the Ventura County Transportation Commission since 2003 and is its current chair. In 2005, the commission appointed him to the Metrolink board, which he chaired from 2009 to 2011. He also served on the Southern California Association of Governments Board since 2005, chairing its Transportation Commission. In these capacities, Keith's record has focused on safety and improvement across all transportation modes. Council member of the City of Moore Park and chair of the Ventura County Transportation Commission, would you please help me welcome the Honorable Keith Millhouse?
Thank you, Peter. Hi, good morning. Thank you for having me here today. As was mentioned, I'm a council member from the City of Moore Park in beautiful Ventura County. I also have the pleasure of chairing the Ventura County Transportation Commission this year during our critical sales tax measure. I'm a recovering Metrolink board member, having attended my last meeting on Friday, and be stepping off the Southern California Association of Governments in December. So after 18 years of public service, I get to rejoin the private sector, which will be exciting for me. I have an environmental law practice, and I do transportation and government consulting work. But people are saying, you're a short timer. Why are you here? What do you want? And we have a critical measure in Ventura County. It's Measure AA. And it's critical not only for the economic health of our county, but for the entire region. And I'd like to tell you a little bit about it, and we'll start with a video, short video. I promised it would be short, because when I tell you we have no money in Ventura County, I mean it. And if you're very astute and paying attention, you'll know how poor we are, because I saw this video the other day, and I said to Darren Kettle, I said, Darren, why don't we film some of the traffic in Ventura County? The first section you saw is going up the Calabasas grade, which, as you know, is in Los Angeles County. So we can't even afford to shoot in our own county. We have to have the Hollywood crews stop there. But I want to tell you a little bit about Measure AA in Ventura County. It's as good as the San Diego measure, even though it's a double A and they're a single A. Just a different type of battery you put in your clicker, so remember that. You're probably familiar with our county. It's located north of Los Angeles, just south of Santa Barbara. Beautiful place, and we're very proud to be part of the SCAG region. And I just broke the whole thing. Oh, there we go. Much like your counties, we're dealing with challenges out there, increasing traffic, gridlock, an aging population, decaying infrastructure, and we don't have the means to pay for it. And for many years, we've had Darren Kettle sitting at the kids' table. We want him to join the adults' table and come and be in the self-help county. So we're really pushing to get this measure passed. But we need some help in connection with that. One of the things is, how do we do that? It's Measure AA. And there's going to be a quiz on this a little later. Now, I don't want to put any pressure on anybody because I mentioned I was going to do a quiz. We're going to have a raffle prize. So take your business card. There'll be 2 questions at the end. Write the answers on it. We got a beautiful bottle of Heights Cabernet wine that you'll be eligible for. And our table, just drop your card at the Ventura County Transportation Commission table in the back of the room. If you can't find it, it's right next to the Tesla display. So that I know you can all find. And if Elon is here or gets here later and would like to donate a car for the raffle in lieu of the wine, we're happy to do that as well, but we're looking for participation. So you can all see the measure. It raises $70 million a year, a half cent. It's a great investment. And one of the things that is beautiful about the measure is, much like your measure, I come to Orange County, have the privilege of coming down here, spending money. I help support your transportation system. When you come to Ventura County, I'm so gracious. I pay for all of you and the roadways because you pay nothing. And we want that to change. We want you to pay your fair share. And I appreciate Lucy Dunn and all her comments about your checks. We've got 3 measures here. I know LA is the big measure. I know they do great things, and we want to do the same thing. So please support San Diego, Ventura, and Los Angeles. If you are a contractor, a construction company, an architectural firm, this is in your interest to get all these measures passed, but I think you know that. So very quickly here, people ask, well, wait a second, how did you come up with a 50-50 split of 50% going to the cities, 50% coming back for regional projects, rail, bicycle, pedestrians, and the like? And we said we listened to the constituents. We went out, we talked to people. This is what people get behind and support. Now, unfortunately, some of the people said, it's not enough money for roads, it's not enough money for this. And I say to them, do you want 100% of nothing? Or do you want 30% of $70 million a year? It should be a no-brainer, but unfortunately, we have to get out and educate people. We're going to add lanes to freeways, but we're also doing improvements of bridges, infrastructure. We have a port up there, which you may not be familiar with, but one of the largest agricultural cold storage port facilities. Dole Food brings in a gazillion bananas, and I believe it's BMW's largest import center in the United States. I tried to get bananas and the BMWs, was not successful, but next year I'll do that for you. How does it affect your county? We are a regional member of the Metrolink system. Very critical for us to continue funding that and help our partners in the other 4 counties be successful in that system by getting this measure passed. So you can also see some of the environmental alternatives that we have here. We want to protect our quality of life. So the people that say you're just going to build over Ventura County, not true. We have environmental protections. We have a great plan to protect habitat, do stormwater mitigation. It's a good win-win measure for everybody. So this is Darren Kettle's favorite quote: if you come to a fork in the road, take it. We are at the point where there has to be action that's taken. So I just want to do a quick little survey, and then I'll give you the 2 questions. How many of you, if you could raise your hands, know someone other than me, Carl Morehouse, and Darren Kettle that live in Ventura County? Okay. How many of you know at least 2 people live in Ventura? Keep your hands up. It's a good exercise. All right. All right. What I'd like to ask you to do is commit to reaching out to those people as transportation leaders and talking to them for a couple minutes about this measure. Tell them about your measure in your county and how it has been so valuable to you, because those votes, we've got 1,200 people in the room. If everybody calls 2 people, that can be the difference in our county between being successful or going years without another measure. And it will be at least 4 years before another measure is attempted if this one doesn't pass. So I want to thank you for your time. Now, the 2 questions that we have, and let me see if I can do this. and they said, now I messed this up for everybody. This is why you don't give a non-tech guy a deal. They said, make it easy. And I said, well, how easy do you want it? They said, make it easy enough that even Art Leahy could get the answer to these questions. I said, I'm not sure I can dumb it down that much, but okay, so on your business card, I want you to write down how much the sales tax measure will be. How much will it be? Half cent, all right? And then how much it will raise annually for Ventura County. See, that second one's $70 million. Okay, so it's very easy. And then as the third question, if you forget the other two, just write down what you think my favorite city in Ventura County would be. I can tell you that if you pick any one of the 10, you will be correct, but I am a council member in the city of Moore Park. You don't even have to spell that correctly. So anyway, thank you for your time, and thank you at Mobility 21.
Thank you very much, Keith. You're trying to rip off our remote. That's okay. I quickly want to recognize one of my favorite council members in the universe, the Vice Mayor of Anaheim, the Honorable Chris Murray. So welcome, Chris. So in a moment, we are going to hear from Jim Medaffer. And this is interesting. I just found this out from Jim this morning. I'm a first-generation Italian-American, and his great-grandfather pronounced it Modafari. So good for Jim. As we just heard from Ventura, building consensus is the key in passing ballot measures. And boy, every one of us who have dealt with it over the years, we can attest to that. That consensus is critical. So with all of these measures that you hear today, we really need all of you to do everything you can in every way. Our next speaker, Jim, represents San Diego County, one of our most populous and diverse counties and our great neighbor to the south. He brings over 3 decades of public and private sector experience. A native San Diegan, he leads a successful public policy and government relations consulting firm and is a longtime civil servant. In 2014, he was appointed by Governor Brown to the California Transportation Commission, and he chairs CTC's Road Charge Task Force, which is tasked to create a program that may eventually replace the gas tax. Long after I'm dead, but that's okay. Here to provide his insights on how we get to a 2/3 vote in a polarizing political time is Jim Medaffer, president of Medaffer Enterprises. Would you please welcome California Transportation Commissioner, the Honorable Jim Medaffer.
Thank you very much, Peter, and good morning, everybody. It's an honor to be here with you today. Whether it's Modafari, because we've got Tavoloni and Guilmetti and Gordino, and so they've been trying to pressure me to put the I back on the name that was taken off at Ellis Island about 100 years ago. But I'm here to talk to you today about a measure in San Diego. And, you know, in the past, in San Diego and across California, major civic undertakings like a 2/3 measure for transportation needed really 2 essential ingredients to be successful. The first, of course, in the measure is, according to the polls, is to be able to win 2/3 support of the measure. And the second, and until recently and equally important, the measure needed to garner opinion leader political support from a broad cross-section across the political spectrum. Well, in San Diego, a broad coalition stretching far left and far right supported and approved in 2004 an extension of our half-cent sales tax measure called Transnet, which has provided funding into the billions and building wonderful projects throughout the region. But since 2004 in San Diego, and frankly everywhere else, the political climate has changed dramatically, and we found out with our Measure A campaign, voter attitudes are very much different today than the local opinion leaders and political leaders that are out there. And so we're now campaigning for Measure A, an $18 billion half-cent sales tax measure to fund our regional transportation program. But unlike past measures, we simply don't have both those pillars of support that prior measures enjoyed. And my window of time here is very short, so I can't really talk about detail on all of the components, but let me just say quickly that Measure A repairs roads and bridges, fills potholes in every community, provides a massive expansion of our mass transit system, sets aside $2 billion for open space mitigation. In fact, here's a picture of the actual ballot language itself that will be appearing on the ballot. And so looking at voters, whom are, after all, should be the most important, and poll after poll for us, both Democratic and Republican pollsters that we've hired, have shown support for Measure A above the two-thirds threshold. In April, the measure polled at 68%. In June, we were at 69%. And in July, we hit 72% on the measure. But as you all know, these two-thirds measures are never easy. Even a small little bout of opposition can raise doubts and push voters down below the threshold that we need. Which brings us to the opinion leaders in San Diego. And as we found, we just don't have the broad consensus of support. You know, we have really very strong support from nearly every mayor in the county, as well as legislative and congressional leaders, and from many other political and opinion leaders across the spectrum. But we've got opposition, too. The Republican Party, they're opposed to it. So are many of the conservative Republican electeds who are basically part of the anti-tax Tea Party-style activism group. In one case, a former local council member who supported the extension in 2004, today he's a radio talk show host in San Diego, and he's opposed to it because, of course, it riles up listeners and gets him more ad sales. So that's the right. And on the left, we're opposed by the Democratic Party. In this case, it's because a small group of labor unions are upset that they couldn't win a labor deal called a PLA to guarantee only union members would work on our projects. So those unions inflamed Democratic activists to get the Democratic Party to come out in opposition. And then the labor movement itself is split in San Diego. Many unions have supported our measure, and in fact, some labor unions throughout California have given us contributions in the 6-digit range. But the local labor council is neutral. The building trades group, even though this measure will provide tens of thousands of prevailing wage jobs for their members, is also opposed. Environmental groups, they're also split. The ones I call the rational environmentalists, they're pleased with the open space provisions. I mean, $2 billion for open space. But others are opposed because the measure includes money for roads. Yeah, roads. And to them, every single dollar for one more road means we're not doing enough to combat greenhouse gas emissions. Keep in mind, this measure is proposing the largest transit project in the region's history, but unfortunately, it's not enough. So, okay, so that's the context. A good measure, a base of voter support, and a badly split opinion leader community. So can we win? You know, what's our strategy? Well, we won't know till obviously November 8th, but this is our strategy. And it's been to basically ignore the political class and go directly to the voters. To wage an aggressive campaign through digital media, direct mail, and television, to tell the voters, if you want to repair roads, if you want to fill potholes, you got to support Measure A. In fact, I've got one of our TV spots to show you, and our message, as you can see, is repair, or as we use the slogan, shut the pothole up. And let me...
If potholes could talk,
Take that, sucker.
you would hate what they were saying.
Gotcha. Gotcha again. Suckers! Take that, Axel.
Shut the potholes up. Yes on Measure A. Let's repair San Diego.
That's so much fun. Thank you. I got to show it again. People always want to see it again, so here we go.
If potholes could talk,
Take that, sucker.
you would hate what they were saying.
Gotcha. Gotcha again. Suckers! Take that, Axel.
Shut the potholes up. Yes on Measure A. Let's repair San Diego.
We had to, thank you. The Take That Axel was kind of funny because at first we didn't have the graphics on there. And I don't know if you all remember the Kmart commercial where they ship their pants. Do y'all remember that? Kind of sounded funny. So we thought, take that, Axel. And we thought, you know what? Some people may not think that's too funny. So we spelled it out. Anyway, we were kind of thinking of some of our opponents when we wrote that spot. You know, so analytically, the split that we have is really, it's really mirroring the rest of the United States. The split between red states, blue states, the split between Republicans and Democrats. You know, the stuff that's brought gridlock to both Washington and, frankly, Sacramento. And so, you know, at the local level, you know, up until now, we've avoided a lot of splits like this. Democrats and Republicans in local office. You know, I served on the city council for 8 years in San Diego. We always put community and transportation above partisanship. But, you know, sadly, those days seem to be over. But if our campaign for Measure A resonates with voters and if we're successful, it'll not only be a big win for the region, but it'll also be a rejection of partisanship, the acrimony, and of politicians who don't reach out and seek the broad consensus of the overall good. And I'll just show you just a couple of our pieces of mail very briefly. Here's a postcard that's gone out. Again, we're keeping that theme of shutting the potholes up. We've got a number of write-ups in different publications. And then we've got some pretty good-sized mailers that we customized for all various regions of San Diego. So I'm just going to click through these. These are different parts of San Diego highlighting the improvements that voters will see where they get their particular mail and where they're registered to vote. So that's in a nutshell of what we're doing. We've got an app that you can download as well that shows you wherever you are, the repairs that'll happen. Anyway, thank you so much for letting us share a little bit with you. A vote yes on Measure A will shut the potholes up. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
I got to tell you, I've been involved in transportation tax initiatives for 30 years, and that is the best slogan I've ever heard, shut the potholes up. It is the bell ringer. You heard us mention our top-level titanium sponsor, Michael Baker International. Let's hear it for them again, please, because we would not be here without them. And we now invite you to look at the screen for a brief video about their firm. How about that for a transportation portfolio? Our next speaker, it is my privilege to invite to the microphone, and that is Jim Frazier. He is, of course, as all of you know, the chair of the Assembly Transportation Committee. He is a former small business owner. He was elected to the California State Assembly in 2012 to represent the 11th Assembly District, which includes portions of Solano, Contra Costa, and Sacramento counties. In 2008, Jim was elected to the Oakley City Council after serving on the city's Planning Commission, and also as a commissioner on the Contra Costa Transportation Authority's Citizen Advisory Committee. He later served as the mayor of Oakley 2011 and 2012. He's also served as the chair of Transplan, was chair of the State Route 4 Bypass Authority, and a member of the EBART Advisory Committee. And on a personal note, I've had the pleasure of working with Jim on a number of occasions, and talk about a transportation leader. This is a challenging time. It's a controversial time. He is fearless in stepping out front and exhibiting a level of leadership that we don't always see, and the experience he brings with his knowledge and experience in the private sector and the public sector really shows, and we are very, very fortunate to have him there as chair of Assembly Transportation. So would you please welcome the Honorable Jim Frazier.
Good morning, Mobility 21. Morning. Heard any good transportation rumors lately? You know, it's the air is thick with anticipation. It's my pleasure to be with you here today. I want to thank Mobility 21 for embracing me and teaching me about the desperate need in Southern California, and it means the world to me to be able to come here and speak today. Admittedly, I'd hoped to have been here with bags of money for all of you, so to speak. But as many of you know, I'm still working on that effort, and I'm more hopeful than ever that we'll see progress in the next 30 days. As you know, I'm the chairman of the extraordinary session for the Assembly, and I'm not going to give up. So stay tuned and keep the pressure up, please. And at last year's summit, I was nearing the end of my first year as the chair of the committee, and I was in the middle of a whirlwind tour that took me all over the state. And I set out on the tour to get to know all of you and to see firsthand what your transportation needs were and your input on how I could be a better legislator for you, and to find many ways for you to be more successful also. I learned a lot on my travels. In fact, much of what I learned is reflected in my funding bill. Today, I'm nearing the end of my first full session as the chair. It's been another whirlwind year, and as you can imagine, again, I've learned a lot. There's a learning curve that just continues to go on and on and on, and I'm very blessed to have a very, very talented staff on my transportation committee led by Janet Dawson. Can we give Janet a round of applause? She kind of is the boss of me, if you know our relationship. Now I'm anxious to get the election season behind us. This is what I call silly season. Get the votes we need for more funding and get back to Sacramento. And I want to acknowledge these self-help tax measures going forward. I've been down to Ventura to talk to the Chamber of Commerce, and any of you can use my help in any capacity to further your measure or the ability for it to be successful. I want you to reach out if you think we can be helpful, and I'm there for you. Now, we've got a lot of work to do, and I'm chomping at the bit to get it done. As many of you know, I don't like the word no. I want to learn how we get to yes. And there'll be changes in this legislature this year, significant changes. And we are less than 3 weeks away from this election, and a very important election for the makeup of the state legislature. With this election, we will see the end of the churn and burn legislature, the 6-year term. Now all of us will have 12-year terms. This is the legislature who were constitutionally limited to serve for that 6 years. And the rest of us are still term limited, but now with the rules, as I mentioned, we'll be here for 12 years. That has the potential to bring about fundamental changes in the way we govern. It's going to bring us hopefully to the center. And I encourage all of you to prepare for this. For instance, to start thinking longer term. Remember, we used to see what we could get and kind of satisfy our short-term goals. It's time to start working on the long-term game, ladies and gentlemen. Invest your time in educating your legislator about your issues. And I would suggest that your counties and your cities invite each and every one of your legislators to be here next year. They should be here, understanding how passionate you are about your community's success and what you do to make that happen. And it's because of you and your investment in not only me and informing me how I could do a better job, but you're an inspiration to me to keep going, to keep fighting for you. Because mediocrity at this point in time is not okay. We will not accept mediocrity. We're in for the long term from now on. I have a great speaker in Mr. Anthony Rendon, who's absolutely supportive of my goal, which I'm very proud of. His leadership approach puts greater authority and responsibility on individual chairs. We now have the strong chair method in the California State Assembly, and this will no doubt lead to a more stable and productive House. And you've still had a dedicated champion in transportation in me. I encourage you to get to know us. We're going to be around for a while. In this same vein, I encourage you to seek longer-term policy agendas, like I said, the long-term game. We can work on these things now a little bit at a time, develop a pathway, and then connect the dots. We don't have to settle for less anymore. With greater continuity in the legislature, we can work together on fundamental, impactful changes and hopefully get to the need for immediate gratification. It isn't productive, that immediate gratification. Of course, our immediate attention needs to be on or by November 30th, when the special session for transportation funding comes to an end. Last year, I watched the Transportation Commission have to make the painful decision to delete or delay $1.5 billion in transportation projects, and I absolutely cannot stand to see that go on. I listened to cries for help from cities and counties whose roads are quite literally falling apart, and our friends in transit share with us their similar needs. The more we delved into the needs, the more I became convinced that we truly have to go big or just go home. I don't know exactly what the next few weeks will bring us, but I am convinced now more than ever that if we settle for a meager funding package, we will regret it, because I do not believe there will be the political will or the desire to go on. The legislature has a very ADD kind of concept. We move from one priority to the other, and then we forget about it, and we look at this and look at that. And you're talking about herding cats with 120 members of the legislature. So we need to be able to focus and get what we need now. So I'm hoping this go home, or go big or go home thing will stick with you also. And you pressure those legislatures to share with them what you expect of them to do for you and your community. So, for example, I observed that there are other huge needs in transportation in addition to the need for money, but namely the need for better data. Candidly, this was one of my most frustrating aspects of this past year. As we sought to build our strongest case for more funding, we found major data gaps. For example, when we looked into the freight side of transportation to identify the true annual needs of the freight industry, we found a $168 billion need for capital infrastructure projects, but no identifiable priorities or data to guide them to this investment. In another example, my committee embarked on a program evaluation of some of the state agencies we oversee. We wanted to better understand what our bang for the buck was and what we were gaining, and what was on our climate change investment. Man, was that a slog. And when we sought to the investments performance metrics, we got a lot of blank stares in return. So understanding that we won't give up and we will get information with this 12-year process. But I'm going to take responsibility for fixing this, at least in the transportation programs. We just have to have a better data source. And now I think the message in Sacramento is pretty clear. If you're a program manager coming before my committee, you need to be prepared to answer the questions. What's the mandate of your program? What specific outcome are we expecting? And what are we achieving, and where are the outcomes? And what does it cost? We're never reported back all of these answers. And I'm not asking these questions to be a bully. This is about accountability and transparency. So we just need simply to be more mindful of the programs we create and more accountability about how we spend the public's money. One of the directions we started on last session that I really want to continue is to reach out to users of the systems, builders of the systems, and to our funding partners. and ask, how can Sacramento help you be more successful? Too often, that's not the approach folks in Sacramento take, and we're going to work steadfastly to change that. We need to always think in terms of providing systems that add value to commerce. Let's face it, goods movement is less about engineering and more about logistics and commercial operations, and we need the experts to guide that. The investment we are making in infrastructure must add value to your business, or they will be of little use to anybody. We need the private sector at the table as our partners to figure this out in all realms of transportation. Without a strong economy, folks, we're sunk, and transportation is one of the largest components of our economy. It's just that simple. So as I said, I'm looking forward to next year. I'm hopeful, God willing, and the creek don't rise, that we will have put the funding crisis behind us. And as we go forward, remember, pick your head up and look out to the horizon. Work with me to improve transportation for the entire state for the long haul. My commitment is 8 more years as the transportation chair. I'm not going anywhere. This is what I want to do, and I want to work with each and every one of you. We have time now to do this, and we need to do it together. So I want to thank you very much for including me today, and definitely you are an inspiration to me, and I appreciate you involving me in the process. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Chairman Frazier. In a moment, you're going to hear from our Secretary of Transportation, Brian Kelly. He was sworn in on July 1st, 2013, as the first Secretary of the California Transportation Authority, which was newly created to focus solely on transportation, replacing the Business Transportation and Housing Agency, BT&H. Prior to his appointment by Governor Jerry Brown, he served as acting secretary of BT&H, where he oversaw 12 departments and several economic development programs and commissions consisting of more than 45,000 employees and a budget of $18 billion, a budget larger than most states in the nation. The agency portfolio remains one of the largest in the state of California. Its operations address the myriad transportation issues that directly impact the state's economic vitality and quality of life. And I want to give you a personal note. I've had the pleasure of working with Brian on a number of occasions and talk about a franchise player in transportation. How many people here remember the movie Master and Commander with Russell Crowe? But if you imagine one of those tall ships that are out in the sea at midnight in the middle of 30-foot waves coming from every direction, that's basically what his job is. And each of those waves is a constituency and a group of stakeholders that is demanding this and that, and he does an extraordinary job of keeping that ship upright and on course. And it is a difficult job, and we were extremely lucky to have him at the helm. So would you please welcome the Honorable Brian Kelly.
Thank you, Peter, and good morning, everybody. I really appreciate that introduction. Very happy to be here today. The Master and Commander reference was very nice and generous, and I'm just waiting for the storm to end, and then we'll bring the ship back. Look, this is a great conference and one that I'm happy to attend and always be a part of. It's the preeminent conference, in my view, of the sort of coming together of transportation officials to figure out how we can make a region work, make a region go, and frankly, make the state go. And I also want to say how much I appreciate the theme of this year's conference, Empowering California. You know, the Oxford Dictionary says to empower something is to make it stronger and more confident. And, you know, for my money, California has gotten a lot stronger in recent years. We went through some very difficult times in the late 2000s, and through hard work, focus, concentration, and very difficult policy decisions made in Sacramento, not just from the administration, but from our legislative partners, we weathered that storm. And we've come back and reemerged as an economic, environmental, and cultural global leader. And I'm happy to participate in any way I can to keep that trend going. So I appreciate the great introduction. I'm very pleased to be here. I wanted to cover two areas with you this morning. One was sort of just going through some of the highlight bills that the governor signed coming off the legislative year, and then really talk about two areas that I would describe as our largest, I guess I'd say our largest categories of unfinished business that we have left to do that we want to get done. I don't want to list a ton of bills and go through them, and because of time, I'm going to go rather quickly, but they are important bills that got done, and mostly, I think in transportation for this year, safety has been an area that we had the greatest success. So the first I just want to reference because I think it's important for all the work that you all do and the interactions we have with the public in the area of transportation. The first was legislation by Senator Hill from the peninsula in the Bay Area, AB 1046, and this is really a revolutionary bill on how we deal with driving under the influence in California. This bill mandated that repeat DUI offenders use interlock ignition devices on their vehicles in California. That is not without controversy, but I have to say, I think it will be revolutionary in how we deal with the issue. And I expect if other states are any example, if the national safety organizations, MAD, and government agencies are right, we too in California should see a reduction in instances of DUI because of that legislation. So that was a very important piece we got done. As you all know, more and more Californians are taking advantage of the rideshare economy using services like Lyft and Uber. And there were a couple bills signed that deal with the safety of those as well. A bill, AB 2687 by Assemblymember Ashajian, aligns the allowable blood alcohol content level for drivers of passenger vehicles to be the same as other commercial vehicle drivers, and it's much lower. It's about half than what is the limit for non-commercial drivers, and I think that's an important safety bill. We also signed AB 1289 by Jim Cooper, legislation that had background checks conducted on drivers in the rideshare business and make sure that they don't have a background that should disqualify them from driving folks around in California, around the state. Other safety bills that were important included enhanced motorcycle safety legislation. We signed legislation to make more thorough the inspection of charter buses throughout California. And we expanded notification requirements, actually using the DMV, one of my departments, using their notification to vehicle owners to expand conversation about vehicles that are subject to safety recalls. And so I think that's also an important piece of legislation. Lastly, not so much in the safety area, but this region has a lot of tolled or priced facilities and more coming online. Around not only Southern California, but all around the state. And there has been a growing problem around California with the evasion of tolls. It's been a growing issue, and last year I think the estimate statewide was a loss of revenue of about $19 million. So we signed legislation, AB 516 by Assemblymember Mullen, that would have new vehicle dealers place on vehicles immediately temporary license plates or temporary tags so that vehicles, thank you, a toll operator, a toll facility operator. It's an important legislation, not just for that purpose, but also we think it will enhance law enforcement's ability to conduct investigations and solve crime. So a lot of important bills went through this year, and those are some of the highlights I have. I want to move quickly to the unfinished business because there are two areas here that are going to require your help. And really I want to encourage your participation in both, and particularly the first. Just last Tuesday in Sacramento, we had a big workshop hosted by the Department of Motor Vehicles, and it is a workshop on how we will move forward for the continued testing and deployment of autonomous vehicles in California, driverless vehicles in California. Now, you all might know that under legislation passed in 2012, we now allow for the testing of autonomous vehicles on streets and roads, but we have a little rule that's, not been controversial, but now is increasingly controversial, and that rule is we require a driver in the car. Now, truly, we are being confronted with the question of how do you allow for the testing and deployment of cars without a driver? And that is revolutionary, and that is transformative. There is, of course, great promise with this technology. Great promise in the areas of public safety and great promise in the area of access to mobility. On the public safety side, we're reminded constantly by our friends at NHTSA at the federal level that we had 35,092 vehicle-related fatalities across the country last year. 94% of those accidents were caused by human error. So is there an enhanced safety potential with automated vehicles, driverless automated vehicles? It's a question that we need to explore because those fatality rates are off the charts. They also provide the potential for great access to mobility for people who either cannot, will not, or choose not to drive today. And so it's a very important conversation. We have 16 manufacturers in California today that are testing over 100 vehicles on streets and roads now. Again, those cars have steering wheels and those cars have drivers. Now we are confronted with moving forward on regulations that would allow for the testing and deployment on public streets and roads without the driver, and in some cases, perhaps without the steering wheel. How do we do that? That's a very important question, and one that I want to encourage all of you be a part of, particularly those of you who are representing local government. And I say that because I want you to remember as we move forward on these regulations, and that will occur during 2017. We will get to a finalized rulemaking package. But when we do, I want to remind you that these vehicles will largely be tested on local streets and roads. And it should be a big deal for those who are governing those cities, and it should certainly be a big deal for law enforcement who has to interact with those vehicles. So the challenges are great. The promise and potential is great. It's an important exercise. It's one of the most important things we're working on. And there is a very important role for local governments, cities and counties in this effort. And so I just want to encourage you guys to follow that, check out the DMV website on this issue, and be a part of it, because you really do need to have a seat at the table, and you need to tell us how you want to see these vehicles operate on your streets and roads. So it's a very important conversation. I want to encourage you to be a part of that. The second issue you may have heard about, I'm not sure, but there's a transportation funding conversation going on in Sacramento. And this is, in all seriousness, this issue, I put this in the unfinished business category, and I would say it is the highest priority in the unfinished business category, certainly for my agency and certainly for the administration in the area of transportation. We have to get this issue solved. And it's hard. It's hard. I would remind everybody that we have not passed a comprehensive funding package in California that involves new taxes, new gas taxes going forward in 26 years. It requires 2/3 votes. We need our Republican friends at the table for this conversation and to get this done. And I would encourage all of you to remind your folks in Sacramento of the urgency of this issue, how important it is to your communities, how important it is to business in California. And I also want to give a note of hope. You know, we're not alone in this fight, in this struggle to get this done. While the federal government did make some progress on transportation funding this year, and it's important progress, you know, I think taking up the deeper issue of stabilizing funding dedicated to transportation over the decades to come is really what we're after. It's what Jim Frazier just spoke about. It's what we're trying to get done. And it's a high priority for us. In fact, I can't think of anything I'd rather do over my 22 years in transportation now than get done that challenge. I mean, I was very proud of work that we did in 2006 when we passed a bond bill that provided $19.925 billion for transportation. But that was a bond. It was a one-time investment in transportation, and we are paying the debt service for that today. It built important projects. But the greatest challenge in transportation at the state level, my whole career, has been stabilizing funding over the long term. And that's the question before the legislature now. My boss put forward a plan, covers 10 years, nearly $40 billion to invest in local streets and roads, to invest in trade corridors, to invest in public transit, to make sure we continue the important state-local partnership program that is so important to self-help counties, And I'm very mindful of the 14 counties that have something pending on the November ballot to move forward their package of important projects and programs. And I know, and I take the obligation very seriously, that the state be a reliable funding partner on those plans. I get it. It's why we included the state-local partnership program in 2006. It's why it's in the governor's plan today. It's why it's in Mr. Frazier's plan. We're going to work hard on this, and I think we're going to get this done. And in my view, it is not a question of if, it is a question of when. And I can't tell you the when, because this is now in the legislature's domain. We will continue to work with leadership. I'm having more conversations now than I've had in months on this with legislative leaders, with my own folks in my world. And we're working hard to get this done, and it's vitally important. Again, it's the highest challenge I've had in my entire career. I think it's the most important thing we can get done. And I would remind folks, if I didn't already say it, 23 other states since 2012 have done it. They've passed comprehensive transportation funding programs that involves new taxes. 14 of those states are governed by Republicans. And I say that because I want them to know it's okay. It's okay. They can do it, we can get it done, and they will survive, and actually they will thrive. And that's what's happening in other states. So look, it's a high priority for us. It's clearly doable, as other states have demonstrated, and it's time to do it in California. So with that, I thank you, and I look forward to seeing you next year.
Thank you so much, Secretary Kelly. Let's hear a round of applause for all our speakers. What a great way to kick off this conference. We have a little bit of housekeeping. An announcement. This is an announcement only for the speakers in the Chairman's Roundtable. So if you're not in the Chairman's Roundtable, don't listen to this. You'll be detained. Chairman's Roundtable speakers, please meet as quickly as possible at Magic Kingdom Ballroom 1 on the second floor, Magic Kingdom Ballroom 1. For this breakout session only, speakers will need special lapel mics. So apparently we don't care if any of the other panelists are heard. So I think that's a little cold, but I just read the stuff. I don't write it. So please go there as soon as you can. We're now going to take a brief break, and I stress brief because we do want to start all the breakout sessions at 10:45, the scheduled time. This is our largest expo so far, with over 100 exhibitors and well over 1,200 attendees. So thank you to all of you. All the breakouts today will be held in the Magic Kingdom ballrooms on the second floor, which most of you are familiar with. Stairways, escalators, and elevators up to the second floor. That's where the Magic Kingdom ballrooms are. The expo hall is to your left as you exit. And if you need to charge and recharge, go to our hospitality suite, which is hosted by HDR and Cambridge Systematics. You will see signage out there directing you. We'll see you back here in the main ballroom for the luncheon session. Thank you so much.